Will we get a chest hair sighting from one Craig Brooks? The answer is always yes. Welcome back to another episode of Going For It. Season 2, NFL football is less than about a week away. A week from tomorrow. We are recording this the Wednesday before kicking off. I could not be more excited. I have brought in all of the football content into my eyeballs. We are here tonight with one Mike, one Craig, one Pat, but more than you will ever need. We will accomplish your football dreams and fantasies this evening. We are doing our quarterback ranking draft. We already did it, so we have some shit prepared, but I want to throw it first to the man in the middle of my screen, Craig Brooks. How you feeling, Hard Knocks? How you feeling football? How you feeling, Caleb Williams? Just break it down for me. It's been an off season. We haven't really met. We haven't really chatted. Let the people know what you're thinking and feeling, baby.
Appreciate that, my man. Big fan of what they're doing with the Hard Knocks, and had a tough personal realization that after all the shit I've been giving my wife over enjoying reality TV for the last decade, I too like reality TV. I just need it to be about my football. So that was a real tough moment that happened this offseason where I was watching the Giants one and I went, because I'm talking to Mel about it, I'm like, this is so cool. I'm seeing this shit. And I went, oh no. This is my Kardashians. This is the same as that. And I was like, okay, but I got over that quick. Loved the Giants one because never had seen some of those conversations. Big, hard not to be a big Malik Neighbors guy right now, right? Really hard not to be bullish on that.
Number one.
Good news today. I don't know if you saw that.
No, what
changes? They unretired the number one to give it to him.
Yeah, they spoke with the family of Ray Flaherty, and they unretired the number one so that way he could wear it, and then they're going to re-retire it when Malik is no longer a Giant.
I think that's fantastic, and I didn't know he liked that number. I like the way he plays the game, and I think he does make Daniel Jones more compelling. He makes any quarterback more compelling, but you asked about the show, and it was so fun to see that. I am enjoying the Bears one a little less than the offseason. The offseason was
so cool.
Very cool. And this one is, I like what I'm seeing about Caleb. I like what I'm seeing about DJ Moore. I will say, and I think Mike Thomas disagrees with this, him or something, it might have been Spillane, I don't know. The rookies, like, are they going to make it? Are they not? I'm over that now. Because of in-season Hard Knocks and me getting to see the primary of what I like, the best players doing the best things, I am not as attached to the storylines that made Hard Knocks preseason for the years previous. But I love Eberflus, Caleb, I think I said DJ Moore, Cole Kmet. I mean, there's some fun stuff going on there. And the show is, I think, better and better, right? And now we're getting, at least 16 weeks of it a year now, because it goes 5, then 5, then at least another 6 or 8. So it's, again, become a full reality situation.
Mike Spillane, how are you feeling? How's your football life treating you?
So, I mean, I'm excited because by the time this episode's up, my college football season also starts, so I got to begin my scouting, but I get to start with seeing my alma mater beat the ever-living piss out of New Hampshire. As expected. I will say, though, being a UCF guy, and Craig, I don't know if you got a chance to watch this yet, because I know you like UCF a little bit too.
I do.
They did like a little 40-minute documentary on RJ Harvey and like his growth to coming up. Highly recommend it. I watched it today while I was working.
What was it on?
It was on YouTube. Just on YouTube.
Okay.
Just go to the UCF football YouTube and you'll find it there. But RJ Harvey, potentially going to be one of the best running backs in the country this year. Is one of the best running backs in the country last year. So super cool to watch. Granted, best running back usually means you're a third-round pick now. Still cool to see.
That's true.
And Craig, I'm super happy that you said you liked the Giants one too, because me and Pat were talking about it. And obviously me and Pat are Giants fans. So we were going to like it no matter what.
TV. It was a good show.
But you're right. Seeing we don't usually get to see the combine process. We don't usually get to see the draft process. If anything, they show a little bit of it in like the regular Hard Knocks. They'll show a little bit of it at the beginning, but like not to the degree of what you saw. Like the fact that you saw
it's like a
conversations of would you try and trade up for this quarterback? The fact that you
That was
saw
cool.
the Senior Bowl conversations of the Panthers, like him just jokingly saying, "Hey, you guys want to try and trade up to 6?" And then the Panthers be like, "You want to trade for Burns?" And then him being like, paying attention. Yes, I do.
And then it goes.
But then it's just still the fact that like his asking price was originally 2 1s and we got him for a 2 and a 5. Like
5, yeah.
like you got to give.
That means your GM, I think Joe Shane, right? Is his name,
Joe
right?
Shane, yeah.
He clearly played that well.
And that's the
He
thing.
may have made some other mistakes, but he clearly played that one well.
You should see what the New York sports media made out of those clips because, like, or not the New York sports media. It was actually some of the national media, but like
It was
the
national
national media
Fox guys.
Yeah, the Jason McIntyre or
Yeah.
whatever his name is. I can't stand him. The guy on Cowherd. Was basically like,
I don't
this
listen
made
to
him
that
look weak. He's just sitting there being like, "Hey, you guys want to trade? You guys want to trade?" Like, no, did you not see what he got? He got an elite Pro Bowl pass rusher that they wanted 2 firsts for his second and a fifth. Like, are you fucking high? Like,
I think he did a good job. I think he did a real good job.
The funniest part too is like he got him for a second and a fifth, and then when Dan Morgan was like, "What about a 7th?" and he was like, "Dude, I need players too." Like he put his foot in the ground at a certain point too, and was like, "No, I am unwilling to move from this point." And like the deal still got done.
Yeah.
So that narrative is bullshit to me.
Exactly. I couldn't stand it. And the only thing that I'm going to say that I have a problem with when it comes to the Bears season of Hard Knocks, I think I'm an episode or 2 behind, but I have enjoyed watching it. The only thing is the Bears ownership family said that they didn't want any cussing in it. So that's why it's a little bit more PG. Is that the ownership group of the Bears? Yeah. If you notice, you ain't heard you heard Joe Shane and Brian Daboll say "fuck this, fuck that." You ain't heard anything like that out of the Bears.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't know. I didn't put it together. That did not.
I learned that. Apparently,
Mickey
it was a
Mouse
request.
Organization. Mickey Mouse.
Well,
organization.
I live in Orlando. I would know all about
40
those.
years.
It's true. It's true.
Although Disney allowed a lot of fucks in their latest movie release. Very successful.
117.
Did you end up getting to watch it yet, Pat?
Yeah, I did get to see it.
We didn't talk about it. So
we went on.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I liked it a lot. It's probably in my top 3 of this series of Marvel movies. It's like Guardians 3, Spider-Man, and then Deadpool. I don't know that there's another thing that beats it. Shang-Chi is probably up there. I really enjoyed that.
I enjoyed
saw that
Shang-Chi
together,
a lot.
Craig.
Yeah,
I liked it a lot. I've seen it twice now.
Yeah, that's probably up there for me. But outside of that, I don't know that there's anything else that I would really give a shit about in this like series of Marvel films.
I'm hoping
there's a couple I haven't even seen. I didn't watch the Marvels.
Yeah,
I did see that one accidentally. I saw Quantumania. It was fairly an accident.
I saw Quantumania.
I haven't seen it. This is what has happened to Marvel. What we're talking about is what happened and why they're going back.
That's why I'm hoping this ends up kind of bringing it in again. Like the success of Deadpool and Wolverine helps ignite the fire of them to be better and make cooler shit again, because it's just become too formulaic.
We hope it's an Iron Man, right?
Yeah.
From 2008. We hope this is the Iron Man of 2024, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know because I feel very burned.
I will say though, just because I know at least Pat's watched a little bit of it. I don't know if Craig's watched Welcome to Wrexham at all. No. But there was a Welsh Deadpool in the scene where all of them came out. It was Paul Mullen from the Wrexham Soccer Club that Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney own.
I like that. There were a lot of Easter eggs in the movie.
Ollie Palmer was also in the bar with Logan.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's awesome. Initially, yeah. So anyway, let's pivot into what we're actually here to talk about.
Oops.
We talked about nothing for long enough.
It's off season. We did our quarterback ranking. We did this last year as well, and I actually listened to that entire episode today, and I took down who we picked last year as well. So if we want to do a little, comparison after the fact, we can absolutely do that. If not, no big deal. But we did our quarterback ranking draft in reverse order. So going from 32 to 1, I did a randomizer myself. So our pickers, the first pick went to Craig Brooks. Second pick was myself. Mike Thomas picked third, who is under the weather. Feel better, Mike, even though you're not listening to this. And then Mike Spillane picking the fourth. He got to do number 1 though, so like it's not a bad pick. It's not a bad.
Guess
pick.
who was number 1?
Daniel No,
Daniel came quick on this reverse from 32.
He was in the
Hey,
first grouping.
Yeah.
There's a pill that can help you at it.
He's a first tier guy.
Do you come quick? Go to visit bluechew.com for 15% off.
We're not sponsored by them yet. Don't
give him your personal code, Mike. Give him your personal code that you have.
Code is coming for it. I mean, what?
Coming soon.
So, with our first pick in the terrible quarterback section, this is broken up into 3 different slides. Craig Brooks took one, Jacobi Brissett, who seemingly will be starting for the New England Patriots.
We think.
I thought he got
pretty
hurt.
Pretty sure.
He did kind of get sort of.
Is he,
kind
or
of,
is he like
possibly.
sore? Because like that, it's football.
It's a sort of kind of possibly, but it could go Drake May, which would ruin his whole career.
Yeah, no. If he has to start immediately, he's fucked. Mike and I have talked about this
extensively
ad nauseum. When we wanted Drake May, we did want Drake May to be a New York Football Giant. This is well documented on prior podcasts. New England has so many things to fix. Yeah. Putting him behind that offensive line with no weapons, nothing, and also having what will be a subpar defense is setting this young man up to fail.
100%.
So you put Jacobi Brissett in there, and he's terrible. He's terrible, but he is what he is. You're not risking hurting his development at all.
No, isn't he like a 12 to 15 year vet? That's a guess, but he's just been maybe longer.
I don't know. Maybe it is.
I feel like he has been in the league a very long time.
On.
He was a starter for multiple teams. He was okay a few times. And at this point, he gets tons of action because of the experience. There's a couple guys in the league that end up like that are just these experienced guys where if a team has nothing fucking going on, you could pay one of these guys single-digit millions to be a starting quarterback that won't like compound your losses.
Right. Other players will be able to advance around him.
Yes.
But
he's not going to bring you there.
Exactly. He's not going to do the thing.
Correct. What you have on screen, I feel like at least the first tier, they're not bringing you. It's going to take the other people. It's going to take the other like offensive weapons to be otherworldly. We're not going to be sitting here. I love it because it'd be fun for my fantasy stuff. We're not going to be sitting here saying, "Oh my God, Sam Darnold just threw for 4,700 yards," and Justin Jefferson's breaking Moss's records. Like, I don't think we're going to be saying that, even with JJ.
This is about to be his 9th season in the league. 32 at the end of the year.
Okay, but he started for multiple teams.
Yeah,
he started his career. He actually started his career with New England, I believe.
Yes.
Then Indianapolis, Miami, and somewhere else.
Cleveland.
Maybe
Cleveland, yeah. And then last year he was somewhere else too. He's been around. He's a journeyman.
That's
for
the
sure.
Word. That's the word.
He's a journeyman. Then I picked Sam Darnold immediately after Jacobi Brissett. And honestly, they are interchangeable as far as I'm concerned. Sam Darnold may have a better season than Jacobi, but that is just because I think the Vikings have gross offensive ability. They have the ability to be nasty, especially once Jordan Addison comes back from being in trouble and stuff.
And
how
realistically,
many games is that?
6 games.
6.
And realistically, like when I look at those two guys, whether it's Jacobi Brissett or Drake May or Sam Darnold or JJ McCarthy, if he didn't get hurt, I feel like they'd probably be in about the same position regardless. Like,
that's right.
If we changed them out for the rookie counterpart.
No, you're not moving Drake up that much. He does like the only reason Bo Nix is where he is probably because of Sean Payton more than it is about Bo Nix.
Yeah, no, the only reason Bo Nix is where he's at is because I feel lower about Daniel Jones somehow.
That's sad. We are very anti Bo Nix
because I don't rate Bo Nix whatsoever. personally, but I just Daniel Jones in the limited preseason action through through 2 interceptions, and one of them was a pick six. Like, it didn't instill confidence. So
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Next, we got Gardner Minshew. Anybody have any comments or feelings on Gardner? Any positive?
There was such good moments, right, in his career. He really has. And I think the team that could have taken him further was actually Jacksonville a few years ago. But they had Trevor that they obviously made a big investment in. And I think that's still the right move. Gardner even technically, it weirdly made like the Pro Bowl last year.
He did.
With the Colts as like but it was like an alternate or something like that. It's
yeah,
like, it wasn't
weird.
Some fucking loophole. But anyway, he had a decent enough season. So he is serviceable. And I think that's why we're going to see him very similar to these last couple guys and in this bottom six, if you will, where they can I don't think they're going to tank your season themselves individually. But again, you're not going to the promised land with these people.
Well, speaking of tanking your season personally, Daniel Jones was the next grab here, and this was Mike's first pick. So, Mike, walk me through your feelings on selecting Daniel Jones at 29.
So here's my thing is, and it's kind of funny because I know that you'll see a bunch of New York beat writers right now who will be like, honestly, his deal was a bargain. And I'm kind of just sitting here. I'm like, when you look at the grand scheme of the other contracts that are being given out right now, I guess I understand what the thought process is when referring to that. But then I also look at what his body of work is, and I say, no, it's not. Because he has been bad. He is not a good quarterback. No matter what people try and say, like he just isn't, unfortunately. He makes poor decisions. He's not reliable with the ball. So I struggle with it. I hate putting him here. And my thing at this point, though, is I think that this is at least the last year on this contract for him. And the reason why I say that, I think that they, regardless of where they finish, they are likely going to cut him at the end of this season. But I could see them, if they draft a rookie, I could see them re-signing him on a cheaper contract to be there as a veteran in the back.
I don't think he does that.
I don't think he does that either, but I could see it being one of the better options that he has available to him. If they
he's not going to start anywhere. He's not going to go anywhere and be a starter. So
it's not going to.
He got money in a very good way. He should just be very pleased with that. Go clipboard it up, and or just quit, because I think he made over $100 million at this point.
He did do that. He did.
Yeah, close to it. But yeah, that's my thing. Is I just, as a Giants fan, my worst nightmare at this point is us having an 8-9 season. You know, like I either want us to be awful or I want us to somehow make the playoffs. I really don't want us to be middle of the road, because if we're middle of the road, then that means we're going to have to contemplate, do we want to keep Daniel Jones for one more year? Do we want to, like, are we, what, and then if we're in that situation, we have to trade the fucking farm to move up to get one of these quarterbacks that's next year.
What if he plays
is not great.
Mediocre? What if he's mediocre?
If he plays mediocre, I still think that they can him. You know, I still think that they get out of his contract, because
it's too much money.
Next year,
some are going to get 60.
Next year, I believe the dead money on his contract is $22 million. If we cut him next year, it's still a lot of money, but it's also not as much as Denver's paying to not have Russell Wilson.
I could see a scenario, though, where he plays well enough to put them in a very similar situation, and then they look at Dak, who's probably going to get 57 or 60 a year, and they go, well, to get a big, we're getting a discount at this point, and then you guys are screwed.
But the levels between, like, $17 million, this is a preposterous statement that I'm about to make, but $17 million is not a huge jump in quality. You're talking about Dak Prescott, who in the regular season is enchanting. He is wonderful to watch. He's a very good quarterback. Come postseason, that's a whole nother story. Daniel Jones at no point in time has showed you that he can be the guy. That he can be the guy. So,
and he also can't stay healthy. That's the other thing to add. He can't stay healthy. That's one of my biggest issues with it. Like last year, it was a knee injury and that required surgery and a neck issue. He's had multiple injury issues that have caused him problems.
Second neck issue.
Yeah,
2 neck issues.
that's a big problem.
It's bad. I want to get going through this a little bit just because these are the guys that suck. We don't want to talk about them. 28 Bo Nix, 27 Deshaun Watson. We had Derek Carr coming in at 26, Bryce Young at 25. I also wanted to pull up a quote from Craig Brooks in that video.
Yeah.
Talking about Bryce Young. Bryce Young, did you hear the things that he's doing in camp? Pat, I don't believe it. Well, everything that's coming out is good. Pat, anyone can throw in shorts and a t-shirt. Mike Thomas, I can't. Craig Brooks, I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
We saw.
Well, we saw season 1. Let's see how he does now.
But I want to say that you came in last season telling Mike Thomas and I that we hated the Youngs, that we were anti-Youngs, and you put Bo Nix at 28.
Correct. So here's the thing. I will always give myself credit for factoring in new information that I receive to change and actually act upon that. I think that's a talent, right? So I'm not going to stick in the mud on these things. No,
it's true.
Bryce was not as good as I was hoping he would be. But my statement about the Youngs was like 50% true if you factor in CJ Stroud, who you guys were lumping in equally as not, don't bet on that, don't bet on that. And yes, Bryce was the wrong one. But I think we're in a scenario now where damn near every year we're going to see multiple wide receiver rookies matter in a big way. And we're going to possibly see one stud. I think it's Caleb probably this year. But I think with NIL, with these guys becoming like pros before pros, we are just going to continue seeing more and more polished product. That's a theory.
Yeah, they're going to be able to afford trainers and dietitians and like do all of those things that they haven't been able to do because they're a college kid, not getting paid, some of them. So, yeah, I think you're going to see more, like I'll use Arch Manning as an example. Like he's gotten all of those things because he's a Manning. Like that is there for him to be able to utilize. Now with all the NIL stuff, if you're a 5-star recruit, you're getting signed to an NIL. You're getting a trainer, you're getting a dietitian, you're getting deals with Nike, you're doing commercials, you're doing all this.
You can treat it seriously soon. Early. And I think we're the ones that are doing that the best and then obviously have some of that God-given stuff that CJ Stroud clearly has.
Oh my God, he's so good.
Well, and I think the things that Caleb is doing already, I know it's only been preseason, but he seems he's got the right mentality. And there are some, and again, I know sports media gets hyperbolic like crazy, but there are some smart folks saying, well, damn it, it's hard not to see how the way he moves on the field and the decisions he make have a Mahomesian vibe to them. It does look that way. By no means am I meaning Mahomes is like the best, my favorite guy to root for, like, boom. It's not even close, but when you see a guy confident in the way he is, being able to throw on the run that way, being like agile as hell, it's very optimistic if I were a Bears fan, which I'm not.
Fuck him. But also I like Caleb, so like I'm good with
I believe he becomes early season, damn near must watch. So if the Bears are in prime time, for me, I'm speaking for myself, but I'm excited about football season, right? You get Thursday night, you get Friday, there's a Friday or two, there's the Sunday night, there's the Monday night, there's the Manning cast with Bill Belichick. Like there's a lot of cool stuff, and I will try to see Caleb play. Stroud too. I'm actually getting to see Stroud in person when David and I go to Green Bay. I think we're going to Green Bay, Houston.
Nice.
I will also just kind of add too that like part of the reason, like not only is it like Caleb's must see as well, but like he also landed in the best situation possible, I feel like, as far as being that pick.
Yes,
like the
yes.
fact that he's got DJ Moore, then they also added Roma Dunze, who's a guy that he seems like he's got a relationship with early on. And they added Keenan Allen, and Cole Kmet is a decent tight end. And then they also decided to go ahead and Khalil Herbert's a okay running back, but let's add DeAndre Swift in. Like,
very good offense on
there's
paper.
so many tools for them to go ahead and be the team that makes a big jump this year. And it's one of those things that I feel like that NFC North division, sans Minnesota because of their quarterback situation, is going to be very must-see TV, because you have the Packers who are good, the Detroit Lions who were fucking incredible last year. I mean, I'm sorry, the Detroit fighting Dan Campbells, as I refer to them as on this podcast. And then now the Bears potentially being like, hey, we might have our first good quarterback in ever.
We might have a guy that throws for 4,000 yards.
In ever.
Correct. He would be their first one
ever over 4,000.
And I heard a weird stat that in the last 19 seasons, there's been at least one division worst to first every year. The last almost 20 years, there's been at least one in the league.
It could be them.
And there's a few that it could
be us.
Right?
Yeah.
There's a few.
It could not.
It definitely could be you. It could be you.
I mean, I guess because the games have to happen. Like if something traumatic happens to the Eagles and the Cowboys, then I mean, I guess.
Or
like,
if Daniel has had a seance and sold his soul to the devil.
Joe Namath did it. Joe Namath did it. Worked out well for him.
Give that boy some stem cells. Goddamn.
So just to wrap it up, Will Levis at 24, Jaden Daniels at 23. And I think Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix are both here because we don't know what they are yet. So I want to hit that caveat there. Begrudgingly, Mike Thomas put his starting quarterback, Russell Wilson, at 22. Any major objections to where everyone's kind of at on this list, guys? Any thoughts, feelings before we jump up a tier?
Russell Wilson, it's a little slanderous only because he had a sneaky okay statistical season last year.
It was good.
26 touchdowns and I think 12 or less picks. It was he protects the ball. He was not the sole reason they were not good. He and Peyton don't get along. I get that. And that's why this had to happen. But I don't know, man. I think Russell, for what his ceiling is, could be higher here. And I did see some lists where Jaden Daniels was in the top 15, and I didn't like that one bit.
Preposterous.
Yeah.
Preposterous.
I kind of will echo the Russell Wilson thing. I feel like he kind of got hard done by and shafted a little bit by how things ended for him in Denver. Because you're right, He did have a sneaky decent season for a team that was pretty not good.
Even better.
Yeah, even better. He had a pretty good season for a team that was not good, and then they just benched him because they didn't want to have to end up giving him some guaranteed money. And then they ended up cutting him at the end of the season to try and get out of that. So it was one of those things.
$83 million to leave.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, insane amount of money. That's why I'm saying with what Denver just did to get rid of him, that's kind of why I'm like, you can cut the cord on Daniel Jones after the season. $22.5 million is not shit compared to what Denver just had.
But hold on a second. Are the Maras rich like that? Those motherfuckers are the Waltons over there.
The Waltons are next level.
Well, because you think about that for a second. Who is convincing the ownership team or the leadership team, these Walton family members, it's no big deal, guys. $80 million, no big deal. That's a lot of fucking money.
No, here's the thing. That still comes out of the cap, though. So since that still counts against the cap, it's money that they're expecting to spend anyway.
They have to spend. You're right.
So
but
they're paying him to not be on their team.
Yeah, it's more. You're right. It's more of a hurt that your team cannot improve past that financially.
I think that they're still kicking themselves in the taint over the decision of what they did with Odell Beckham Jr. So because they let differences get in the way on that, and he could have still stayed in New York and been a star here for his entire career, and they let that get in the way. So I think they're more likely to go ahead and be fine spending money and getting it done if they think it's the right decision to do. It seems like at least Mara he's letting Joe Shane run it. He's not.
Should have
Joe Shane, you watched it. you watched it. Joe Shane stood up to him in certain times being like, yeah, I'm doing what I want to do. Like,
right, which could get him fired if Saquon runs decently this year. Joe Shane's getting fired.
I don't know about that.
I disagree.
Yeah, I think that he's got at least 4 years. I think he's going to get this season and at least next.
He got a
mulligan
mulligan
year. If they do really bad?
Yeah, he got a mulligan year from making the playoffs year one. I think him and Dayball both did.
Well, and that's the thing too, is like, you're not as into Giants things as us.
No.
But Shane and Dayball are kind of attached at the hip, which I think you see from the outside.
Right.
But if you're going to get rid of Joe Shane, odds are Brian Daboll is also gone. So you're going to have to do a full rebuild again. Your whole front office, your whole coaching staff, everything's got to be re-upped again. And my thing is, Brian Daboll knows how to coach a quarterback. He got Tommy DeVito to win 3 NFL football games last year. 3. He won 3 games.
Yes, he did.
That was more than Bryce Young won all year.
The whole
third
year.
String.
The whole year.
Third.
Tommy's 3. He's behind Drew Lock for reasons. But Brian Daboll knows what he's doing. Jalen Milroe or Drew Aller are coming next year to the New York Football Giants. And it will be a better year. It will be.
Sorry, that's my reaction to Drew Aller. I disagree with you so hard.
I feel so strong. I feel so positively about Drew Aller.
We'll see how this college football season starts, buddy.
I'm on the Aller train. Chew, fucking chew. Anyway, let's talk 21. Craig's favorite quarterback, Anthony Richardson, who I was correct about last season, but he doesn't want to talk about that.
He got hurt. He was very good for 4 games.
I told you. He wasn't very good for 4 games.
He was okay.
What do you mean? He scored like a bunch of touchdowns. 2 touchdowns in each game he was in.
He also fumbled and threw interceptions in all of those games too. So,
but
got hurt and injured and knocked out of some of those games.
Multiple injuries. Yeah.
Anthony Richardson coming in at 21. And I want to say this because as much as I give you shit, I love his toolbox. Anthony Richardson's toolbox is maybe the best toolbox in the NFL. I get Cam Newton vibes from him pre-shoulder injury. Like, it's that kind of thing. But he's going to have the same issue that Josh Allen will eventually have, which is fucking slide, man. Yeah. Fucking slide.
We'll see. If I'm obviously, again, to my point earlier, new information came in. He doesn't protect himself very well. He's electric when he's healthy. I could see him being lower on this list. I don't like seeing him any higher yet without seeing what it is, right? But where he's going in fantasy drafts is irritating. It's irritating.
Dude,
it's top 5 QB.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is, guys, fantasy football is not real fucking football. You got to watch the games. You got to watch the tape. He never, in college, like, he's got 4 games of being a pro NFL quarterback where he still had a bunch of turnovers. Yeah, there was some production. But, like, if you look at his college tape, he was not a good college quarterback. Like, he was one of those guys who looks like he was overdrafted based off of raw athleticism. Can you hope that he gets that? Yes. Is he worth a top 5 quarterback draft position? I did a mock draft getting ready for one of my leagues where he was the first quarterback off the board, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, you got to be high if you're making that decision.
That's ridiculous. That's like, absurd.
No, and that's the thing. It's like, again, I wish for all these guys, I want them all to have successful careers unless they're playing for the Eagles, Cowboys, or Commanders. Like, let that be clear. And if anything, I want everyone to be healthy because of long-term repercussions. I would never wish injury on anybody. But like the people who just blindly watch this stuff without understanding like the mechanics of being a good quarterback, I'm just kind of sitting here like, you got to be kidding me. Like, granted, I'm a fat asshole in Florida, but like. You know, I still know a thing or two about the game from all of the time that I've spent watching it, learning it, playing it.
10,000 hours.
10,000 hours devoted to the game.
Well, I'm going to keep going here to our first, our first hot take. You're good, man. You're good. That's what we're here for. We're here to soapbox. 20 Geno Smith. I don't think anybody's got any complaints or qualms there.
I just hope 19, he puts it on DK all year long.
Baker Mayfield coming in at 19. Our first hot take, Mike Thomas. going Aaron Rodgers at 18. I understand this. I don't agree with it. Rodgers in my own personal ranking was slightly higher. I put him at 16 because the youth and health factor means a lot at 40. As someone who is not 40, I am 33, but I pulled a muscle in my back picking up my 4-month-old son out of the bathtub.
Yikes.
And
That's real.
that took days to for my body to recover. I understand that he has access to the best care being a multimillionaire, but coming off of a straight up decimation of your calf, ankle, tendon area,
Achilles
just
pop.
yeah, that whole thing just went away and it stopped. That feels like it's going to be tough to come back from at 40 years old.
It's this is also slanderous to a four-time MVP, Super Bowl winning. We've seen Tom Brady play to 45. This is 5 years junior to that, and Tom won at 45. I think is when he won the last one.
He did.
So,
but his Achilles never exploded at 39.
But that's true. But he had other serious injuries throughout, right? He missed a season with a knee.
He had an ACL, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I thought he had 2 issues, but it might be just one. And this, from my memory, was Aaron's first serious one. He is the first time he missed, but he didn't miss considerable, did he? I thought it was like 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, it was something like that. But collarbones are finicky. You break it one time and it gets.
I don't know that because I didn't break things, thankfully, that way. But I think while I like a lot of these guys, these are all likable dudes as you're going through this list. I think Aaron is, and that's the problem, is no one's going to give him the benefit of the doubt because he's just not, he's a bit of a blowhard publicly, right? So there's no one's going to give him, and if I'm speaking just from the football perspective, at full health, he's definitely a top 10 quarterback in the NFL.
For sure, but you have to know if he's at full health, and there's no way we know that.
And we don't. But the thing is, when we're making these, I think we are overthinking sometimes about that because I like to go in the whole way, the 32 with full health. That's what I was thinking the whole time, right? Like I'm going in thinking these guys are going to do well, which is why for me, I would have wanted Aaron earlier, in like way.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about way. I still think he's on this screen, but I don't know if he's a top 10 guy anymore. You need to be able to move in the pocket, and escapability is a big thing.
He can scoot.
I don't know.
He can scoot.
Again, have we seen it on the Achilles? Do you know what MetLife turf does to everyone? Everyone.
What if when they run him out with the flag again, which they're probably going to do, he pops something on the jog? Like
doesn't even get a snap in.
A snap in. He's going, and it's non-contact injury. Jordy Nelson, knee goes.
Just over. The knee is done now.
Over.
It's not even a knee anymore.
Robert Saleh gets fired immediately after the game? Or is it because like they're only holding most of that staff because like the hope of Aaron being good?
No, I'll tell you who does go. The fucking offensive coordinator who's a dipshit.
Hackett, yeah.
Nathaniel Hackett.
Yeah, Nathaniel Hackett. He's out immediately. Rodgers pops a knee on the way into the stadium. Fucking Woody
Hackett's
Johnson
phone is
comes
ringing.
down
from
he comes down from the owner's suite and he's like, Nathaniel, hey, pack your shit. Get out of here.
I was going to say, reference Craig will probably get a little bit more. He comes down like Sting in the old WCW days from the rafters. Like just descends down onto the field holding a baseball bat.
It's your time to go. Like that was
just
your
says
golden
Nathaniel
goose
on it.
Golden goose is dead.
We took that goose out back and we killed him. He's dead now.
But to be honest, though, there is a non-zero chance that he puts up crazy good numbers because
I have him as
Breece
a quarterback
Hall,
in fantasy.
Garrett
I have him
Wilson,
as a quarterback. I believe in him as a quarterback, but it's concerning. It's you know you don't really know. We've already gushed on Caleb Williams. This was my first surprise. You put, go ahead, Mike.
I was just going to say, because I was the one who had the Caleb Williams pick, I put him here because I don't think that a rookie quarterback should be in the top half of the league regardless. I do think that he's got the highest ceiling because of those around him. But without him playing an actual NFL game, this is the highest I could ever consider putting a rookie when it comes to our quarterback rankings. Continue.
I I have no problem with him here. I think this is a great spot for him to start the season. We've seen
Agreed.
preseason him. He's had amazing peaks. He's also had some valleys where you're like,
There's gonna be more.
yeah, of
Gonna
course.
happen
You
all
have to
season
make
long.
these
Yeah.
mistakes. You got to make these mistakes to be in the league.
But I'll say this other surprise on the list, Trevor Lawrence at 16. This was Craig's pick.
Yeah.
Last year, you were very adamant that Trevor, we undersold Trevor, and he was at.
Oh, I thought he was going to rise. This was a miss for me because of Ridley. I thought
He was
going
at
to
6. We drafted him at 6
It's
last year.
way too high. Yeah, obviously. I was very bullish on him having an additional weapon, another year with Etienne, and he actually kind of like regressed a little bit. Right? So now we're in a whole new world because now it's I think they have Gabe Davis,
yeah.
Christian Kirk,
Right,
Evan
I
Ingram,
think
and
that's what it is.
Zay Jones. Zay
No.
went to Arizona.
Then they drafted Brian Thomas Jr.
Right.
in the first
that's what
round.
it is.
The
And
other
Etienne's
guy from
fantastic
LSU.
as well. So
Etienne's gross.
they've got weapons. He really needs to rise this year, but I'm basing this off how much why I made that pick is how much I like the rest of the guys more than him. That's how it had to go, right? It literally was reconciling the names and like, no, I can't put you ahead of any of these based on last season's performance and what I think you've got going for you. So that's why he drops probably the biggest drop, 10-spot drop.
10 spots. No, Daniel Jones was at 10.
Oh.
Yeah. Danny Dimes snuck into the top 10 for us last year, and he is at 29.
For the record, I did not draft.
Our
last
show
year. I was not part of
stinks.
this.
This show's stupid.
We're idiots.
For the record, was not a part of this. I want no blame in that.
That's a big miss.
That was a big miss.
So was Trevor.
Trevor was a big miss. We had a couple really big misses, and then we had some things that were kind of hot takey, and they ended up not being hot takey, like Mac Jones at 27, Sam Howell at 29, Desmond Ridder at 31, like
trash.
Yeah, we called a lot of things that one of the good ones. I'm kind of upset Mike Thomas isn't here because I was going to rag on him. He took Kenny Pickett at 17, so very in this Caleb Williams, Trevor Lawrence area, and was devout that Kenny Pickett was the second best quarterback in that division in the AFC North, but he took him at 17, and Lamar went much earlier. But he was like, I think he's got the tools and the skills to be the second best quarterback in this division. And
I'm not sure he's on a team anymore. I'm not sure he's on.
He's on the Eagles. He's on. Okay. I think he's the backup for the Eagles.
I feel the same way about Ryan Tannehill. Might not be in the league anymore.
He's not, and we drafted him at 24. The bottom half of our stuff, we did Anthony Richardson at 32, and I still feel good about that. Desmond Ridder, Colt McCoy, because Kyler was hurt.
Yeah.
Sam Howell, CJ Stroud at 28 feels bad now. Feels bad.
Course.
But Mac Jones at 27, Jordan Love at 26. That's a high rise too. He goes into the top 10 for us, which you guys will see in a minute. Jimmy Garoppolo at 25, Ryan Tannehill at 24, Deshaun Watson at 23. Like
Deshaun just slipping away.
Slipping away with all that guaranteed money. Good job, Browns.
Yeah.
Good job.
David Mulugeta.
So Trevor at 16, Jared Goff 15, Matty Stafford coming in at 14, Kirk Cousins 13, Justin Herbert 12, Tua Tagovailoa at 11.
Did you guys know that two of these guys on this list are set to break 60,000 yards this year and be the 9th and 10th quarterbacks all time to do it?
Is it Stafford and Cousins?
It's Stafford and Rodgers.
Really?
That makes more sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Stafford and Rodgers are both on pace with a full season, will be the 9th and 10th QBs all time to go over that number, which is impressive. Good on both of them. They both got one ring. They're both, I think we would say, Hall of Fame is probably going to happen for them. Very likely first ballot for what they've done in their careers, not necessarily this upcoming year, but it makes a lot of sense. I think what'll be really fun to see is if Goff Herbert, or Tua can actually be a top 5 guy. Because one of the three of them could do that. And I feel like Kirk will never go up that high. He could definitely be like the 8th best quarterback in the league. And no one would be bummed about that.
He has been.
Right. I don't think he's going top 5, but I could see Tua with a full season of excellence instead of what always happens, which is half. Goff with running it back. Like, they were chanting Jared Goff's name last year. That's the first time that's ever happened to the man. What if he drinks that in like it's fucking super juice and just really becomes the best version of himself? Because I noticed, I've shit on him for many, many years. He's kind of had a sneaky good career. If you really look at it, he's doing all right.
Yeah.
He went to the Super Bowl with the Rams. He went through this whole thing and invigorating. I always got to give extra credit to a guy that invigorates a franchise that's like mired in terribleness. You know what I mean? Like when LeBron went back to Cleveland, like these things are, I think, historic that way. And I'm rooting for him to break through there. And I'm intrigued, but I personally would have had Tua at like 10 or 9. So I'm upset about that still.
Yeah, and the only thing that I'll add on there is my hot take would be I wouldn't have an issue with putting Matt Stafford higher up because of the fact that I think he's got a good receiving core. But my hot take is that Justin Herbert should be further down the list because he's got nothing. They took everything away from him.
They gave him a coach that took away his players.
I think so the way that I need to put more next season. I need to like spell out how like I envision this in my head. So we're all drafting with the same mindset. I just picture it as you need a quarterback to win you a football game. Pick that quarterback. And this is the list and how I would like perceive that. Mm-hmm. I did not give you guys that prerequisite because I was like, they know what I mean. You didn't know what I mean. How the fuck could you know what I mean? I didn't tell you. So, I apologize. They did take everything away from him. I am not looking at Justin Herbert for anything this season. I will start judging him hopefully next season when they don't take a tackle when there's 3 transcendent wide receivers on the board.
But what do you the Harbaugh effect might be real. He wins everywhere he goes, even in the NFL. So
there's just so many non-tools on that offense. There's so many. Like Ladd McConkey's great in the slot. Are you going to run your whole offense through a slot receiver?
Maybe.
I guess we'll see. Yeah, Mike, you were jumping in because you wanted to
just because I was curious.
Flowers somewhere.
No flowers here. I just want to say, like, just to document the fall off. Justin Herbert was like a top 5 quarterback in fantasy last year. In my 14-man league, he's not starting on a team. Yeah, that kind of really highlights how people feel about him.
Could be a steal week 4. As you see, he's getting 2 touchdowns a week. Nobody's still talking about him. Or 1 week he gets 1, then a 3, then a 1, something like that. And then they get their shit together.
This is a 14-man league where they voted to extend the bench. So... Wow, everyone's got 2 quarterbacks. It's a bloodbath. Waivers are going to be drier than the Sahara.
Very insulting to not take Justin Herbert out of 28 fucking quarterbacks.
No. He I'm saying starting. He's definitely drafted. He's on somebody's roster. I don't know whose roster he's on, but like I'm going to find out who's got him and who's. Oh, Justin Herbert guy also has Jalen Hurts. So
yeah, he's one thing that's come around nicely for me as a Miami fan is. For 2 years, it was like, damn it, we should have taken Herbert instead of Tua. And then for another 2 years, it's been cool. I think we got the right guy for this system, for this coach. So I'm still in that camp at the moment where now we're in 2-2, right? We've had 2 years where I'm like, shit, we got the wrong guy. 2 years where I feel like we got the right guy. This is the year to see which one of the 2 of them does better. They were drafted one after another.
I really think the one concern I have with Tua is the same concern I always bring up, and I'm so sorry. But it is you play in a division that get just bitterly cold. We're going to get home field advantage by winning 13 games. Tyreek Hill. No. Just follow the thread, bro. Where he's going to break 2,000 yards. He's going to get 20 tutties. Jalen Waddle's going to have 1,400 yards. He's going to have 20 children before
16.
he gets 20 tutties.
You're going to see A-Chain. You're going to see Mostert. This is going to be a very prolific offense. The defense is going to stop a few people. We're not going to have 4 injuries right before it matters at the end of the season. We will lose instantly in the cold weather. But if they get home field, I think it's a coin flip.
I don't think you're going to get home field. You guys lost so much talent on defense. Losing Christian Wilkins was massive.
I don't like that part.
Not been filled.
Of course
it has not been filled.
No, he's a top 5 at the position, I think. So it's like, that's
absolutely
hard to do that.
I'm concerned about Miami this season. I am.
Well, yeah, and I get that because the window, whilst still ajar, it would have been much better 2 years ago when they ripped off to like the 7-1 or whatever it was, or 6-1, and it was like, here we go, right? And it was going to go. It didn't. And then last year they had a very high week where we put up 70 points on somebody, and it was like, Denver. Okay, this is going to happen. They have ended both seasons very poorly, and that I actually put on McDaniel a little bit. Like him, want him to stay. Let's see if we can get improvement. Took us to the playoffs. That's good. That's improvement. Can we win a playoff game? No, in -20 weather.
And it's just, if you have to go to Buffalo, if you have to go to New England, if you have to go to New York, if you have to go to Kansas City, if you have to go to Cincinnati, if you have, like, there's just not.
Why do they put these stadiums outdoors? What are they doing? What the fuck is this about? It's a conspiracy.
Everyone got together and was like, fuck Miami, because you guys screw everyone with your home field advantage.
We have not won a title in 50 plus years. It's a long time, guys.
That is a long time. That is quite some time.
It's longer than the Bears.
It's longer than the Bears. Getting into our top 10, these names should not surprise anyone.
No.
Coming in at 10, Jordan Love. I think he's too high. I personally had Jordan Love at 12.
That's very rude.
Because I don't believe.
You got the wrong graphic up too.
I'm not a believer yet. Oh, do I? Oh, I changed it on my screen, but not the screen that I was sharing. It's a Riverside issue. Yeah, it's a Riverside
technology,
issue.
man.
I think we're going to see Jordan Love crack into. I mean, we got him at 10. I think he could end up in that lucky number 7 situation. I think it could happen. He has and even higher potential, because I think Josh Allen should be lower.
You are very against, but you have been against Josh. I have to give you all the credit for this.
I even regret. I should have adamantly. I'd rather have CJ Stroud than Josh Allen. So
you did put Stroud 8. That was.
I know. I should have not done that. I should have put Allen there to really set my disdain for him. But he runs and he's not hurt yet, so I have to give respect to that. He did do the important things of improving. So like he actually improved, got better, but still doesn't take care of the ball and himself in the ways that you need to be this high. Because once I hit Stroud, I like instantly regretted it. But then Dak went, then Purdy went, and then I was like, oh fuck, and they're not going to do Allen, so he's going to get 4, and I don't even want him there. I messed up. I should have hit, and I don't know who did Dak. That might have been Stroud if I did Allen at 8. I don't know what you would have done there.
No, CJ is. Where do I have? I have CJ 4 on my list.
Yeah, so if I had a re-rack, I would have went Allen there to cause the wave, and then you would have not gone Stroud. I wonder if Stroud would have made it up to 4 or 5.
Because everyone was like, whoa, CJ at 8.
I mean, for me, like, on my list, Aaron Rodgers is higher, Stafford is higher, and Tua is higher. And on this, I would say I'd probably put Purdy, Kyler, and Love a little bit further back. Love, I kind of had a conversation with Pat earlier today because Mike Tenenbaum on ESPN this morning was talking about, like, what's his bold prediction for this year? And he said Jordan Love wins MVP and Super Bowl.
Whoa.
And I was like, that is a bold prediction. Not fucking happening. Like, there's 0.0% chance that I could even see that happening.
No.
My reason for that is Jordan Love is a very good quarterback. Jordan Love is not a game winner. That's why Josh Allen is still higher on this list, because Josh Allen has been a game winner in the past. That's what's separating Jordan Love from taking that next step. And I hope to see him become a game winner this year. And I documented it with stats because I said to Pat, there was 4 times this past season where Green Bay was on a drive to try and take the lead and win a football game. 4 times that Jordan Love threw an interception on that final possession while they were driving for a touchdown.
Yikes.
He's got to work on that. That's something that's really bad. And one of those was in a playoff game. Like, you got to be better. You can't be in that situation. If you're going to be a quarterback that wants to be successful in this league, you got to be better. And for me, Kyler, I picked him at 9 just because of the fact that I'm like, I cannot let him go above anybody else that's left. Like, so
I had Kyler at 10, so
I had Kyler outside the top 10 personally, because of the fact that he's still a little bit of an unknown coming off of injury, and I want to see how things work for him now that he does have a number 1 receiver in Marvin Harrison Jr. and Trey McBride. For those that don't know, in fantasy terms, he was the number 1 tight end in the NFL for over the last 9 weeks of last season. Trey McBride is a stud. So I'm curious to see how this works for him moving forward, but I'm still a little bit reluctant on him because he's so undersized and the injury issues. So we'll see how that works. But
I love the arm and the escapability. The dude can get out of the pocket and like make people just look the dumbest they've ever looked. And I love that in a quarterback. So
I also, though, I'm with you on CJ Stroud would be way higher. He would have been, I would have actually put him at 4.
Yeah, I blew it. I was.
Let's talk more about how Craig sucks at this. So Craig.
I don't know why I did that. I'm looking at it again, and I would do Allen at 8 because I dislike him.
You don't like, but you've never liked him. I want everyone to know if this is your first pod you've listened to, Craig is anti-Allen. He's anti-Allen.
Well, at first it was
because he was really good.
He might be fine as a person. He has good taste. I like Haley Steinfeld. I think they're dating or whatever. Very pro that. Yeah. But he doesn't take care of the ball and he doesn't take care of himself. And Buffalo, innate enemy of the Miami Dolphin. So it really was not meant to be. I was not meant to be a fan of his. I got a Joe Burrow rookie card. I don't got no Josh Allen rookie cards.
Not in this house.
No. We ain't playing that way. We ain't doing that over here.
So Jordan Love at 9, Jordan Love at 10, Kyler Murray at 9, CJ Stroud at 8, Dak Prescott at 7, Brock Purdy at 6, Jalen Hurts at 5, Josh Allen at 4, Lamar at 3, Joe Burrow at 2, and Patrick Mahomes, number 1 quarterback. I don't know that anyone can argue with that except for that one flag football guy who was like, my IQ is better than Patrick's.
Who also had to put his entire body weight into throwing a fucking football. Like, his throwing motion was rough. I will say
140 pounds.
Having pick 1 was the easiest thing I think I've ever had in my life. It was so simple. But Mike Thomas was very much not a fan of putting Joe Burrow at number 2.
So I'll say what I said in the group chat here and why I stand by Joe Burrow at 2. I had Burrow at 2 on my personal list. He's gone against Patty when the chips are down, when it matters the most, and he's beaten him. Mm-hmm. He's beaten him in Kansas City to go to a Super Bowl.
That's right.
If you're able to do that, that is only one other person has beaten Patrick Mahomes when it matters like that, and his name is Tom fucking Brady.
That's right.
So you deserve your spot on the list.
Allen couldn't do that. Lamar couldn't do that.
No, Lamar.
Hurts couldn't do it.
Lamar been to an AFC Championship game? I feel like he hasn't. I don't know.
One, I thought.
Maybe.
No, maybe not. No.
I don't think so.
No, because he won his first playoff game this last season, I think.
Yeah, he won.
And then lost to the Chiefs.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, and then the Chiefs were like...
Yeah.
So I don't know who you put it to.
Joey B's got raw talent on not the level of Patty, because I think Patty's on his own tier, and then it's Burrow, Lamar, and then CJ and some of these other guys.
You just don't want to say Josh Allen's name. You don't want to say it.
He's in that grouping with Jalen Hurts, with CJ Stroud, and then there's probably Purdy, Dak, and then there's a
So-
whole drop off to these others.
Let me hit you guys with a hypothetical. Mike, I want you to jump in first because we've gotten
Sure.
to the end of our list. We would love to hear you guys what you think of our top 10, who you guys have in your top 10. But I want to hit you, Mike. You hit me with this first. I'm gonna throw it to you, Craig, and then we're gonna wrap for this evening because we're at an hour just now.
Look at that.
Number 5 here, Jalen Hurts. He's number 5. I feel good about him being at 5 at this current moment in time. If the Philadelphia Eagles implode again, and whether their problems be defensive, offensive, whatever, if they implode again, does Jalen Hurts fall out of the top 5 for you? Does he fall out of the top 10 for you? Let me do that. Mike, does Jalen Hurts fall out of the top 10 if Philly implodes this year with all of the pieces he has around him?
The thing that I'll say about that is it's going to depend on what causes the implosion. To quote Mina Kimes, wins are not a QB stat. I don't look at it that way. I think that there's more to the game than that. Like, we can look at Josh Allen. He should have beat the Kansas City Chiefs when he went up on them with 13 seconds to go, and then the defense let him down. So for me, it's going to depend on where the implosion is, because more likely than not, you and I both have had long-winded conversations on our thought on this. It's likely going to come down to Nick Sirianni on if he's going to be a competent coach again, or if what happened at the end of last season is going to continue. So there's a chance, absolutely, that he can fall out of that top 10, but it's going to depend on what the implosion is and where it comes from primarily, because you're right. He's got A.J. Brown. He's got Devonta Smith. Dallas Goedert's a great tight end, and they added Saquon fucking Barkley. And as a third wide receiver, they also added they added Jahan Dotson as well as a third wide receiver. Like,
Weaponry.
that team is ungodly stacked. Like, you got to be successful. If it is clearly the quarterback that is the issue that is causing the problems, then yeah, that's a problem. Because you can't look at Howie Roseman and say that he has not put together an amazing team for them to be successful. He's manipulated the fuck out of the salary cap in order to make it happen.
It's true.
Got to give him
In
credit for
3
that.
years, they're fucked.
Yeah, they did so much of kicking the can down the road with these contracts that they're going to be paying guys who are no longer a part of their team in 4 years. They're going to be paying them contracts while they're playing for other people, which is going to be ridiculous. But they're just banking on the cap continuing to rise and it being the negligible difference, which so far they've been right, but it's going to catch up to them at some point, you have to imagine.
It always does. It absolutely will.
So I think that it could be his fault, but I lean more on this team's issues coming from the coaching more than the quarterback.
Craig Brooks, give me your take before I
made some good points. I do think that the main issues came from the coaching staff. I also think there's a possibility here. We just haven't seen enough of a body of work, right? We had one great year that got him very well paid, and then we had another maybe 8 to 14 games to parse together kind of thing. And I don't know if we know that he's worth the $250 million or whatever it is that he got. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for him. I think everyone should, get what they can get. But I also wonder, does he need a Jason Kelce Hall of Fame level center to be able to do some of the things? I don't know. I think we're about to find out how important I believe Hall of Fame center can be for the quarterback center relationship. It might be inconsequential. He might have someone come right in and him be able to do what he can do. He's a special running talent. And I mean, I don't personally view him as the best thrower of the football. So I do think he can fall out of the top 10 easily if that gets exposed. And one thing that stuck with me was apparently Nick Bosa came out at the end of last season and basically talked about how to stop Jalen. And it was about because he looks for the rush, and he said it publicly or whatever. And then the week after was like, oops, because then the other team crushed Jalen.
Yeah.
If he remains one-dimensional and keeps it, I believe what they were saying is he keeps his eyes too low because he's looking at who's coming. And to be a real good quarterback, you got to keep your eyes high, which is hard because they're coming at you. But if that keeps happening, I think we see him go, back half.
So we'll wrap on this because I call the shots here. I'm the captain now.
That's right.
Not really, but just because we hit the mark we wanted to hit for tonight, and I want everyone to go enjoy the rest of their evenings and everything. I would rather have Kyler Murray in this offense than Jalen Hurts. 1,000%. I think Kyler does everything Jalen does better. Kyler's got a better arm. He's more mobile. He's more agile.
I think he can put it on the spot better.
I think he can. And I think that we're looking at Jalen Hurts, and the reason that he's at number 5 is because he has all these pieces around him. I agree with you, Craig. I think losing Kelsey is a massive loss. I think on the defensive side, losing Fletcher Cox is a massive loss. They have Quinyon Mitchell, one of the best, if not the best defensive prospect in the draft this year, is their starting corner, or their other side of their starting corners with Darius Slay. That's awesome. He's very good. He's going to be very good. That does not typically, corner talent takes a couple years to really find their footing. Their linebacking core is easily the weakest in the NFL. They have the best defensive coordinator, I think, in football, in Vic Fangio, but if the offense is this loaded, if you're paying all these guys and you have to rely on your defense to win you a game, you're in a bad spot. And that's just
absolutely true. Absolutely.
So with that, again, please like, comment, and subscribe down below. Let us know who your top 10 is, who we put too low, who we put too high. Obviously, your 1 is going to be Patrick Mahomes, because if it's not, you're wrong.
You're wrong.
You're wrong. You're just wrong. 2 should be Daniel Jones. No, I can't even say that with a straight face. Let us know who your top 5 is. Please do us the favor of liking, commenting, and subscribing. We will be back next week. Football is back. We are excited. We're going to pick some games. We're going to do our pick 'em again. I'm excited. I cannot wait.
Won a week or two.
You did. And then there was a week you forgot, and then you did it again another week, and it's cool. Life happens, man.
I'm excited. I forgot about the pick 'em from last year.
How I roll.
The pick 'em, yeah, man. So we are going to get that going. Guys, thank you for hanging out with us. We greatly appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Only 7 more sleeps till football.
Woo!
Take it easy, everybody.